One afternoon a teacher was explaining the lesson to the students. Her class had 20 students and usually only a few students would volunteer to interact. As usual, the teacher called out a question, hoping that this time more students would choose to engage with the discussion. To her surprise, she saw a hand waving from the middle row, which rarely happens. She was delighted to see someone new engaging to participate, so she quickly selected the new volunteer. The student stood up and reported in an uneasy manner. "My mom bought me a new watch as my birthday gift, and I can't find it in my backpack." The teacher responded with a calm voice. "Have you checked it carefully, and are you sure you have brought it with you to school today?" The student replied once again. "I was wearing it this morning in class, and I placed it in my backpack before leaving for the noon recess. I can't find it anymore after returning from the recess, so it must be stolen." The teacher spent a brief moment to contemplate, thinking that it shouldn't be difficult to find out if the watch is indeed stolen by one of the students, as the class size is small. She asked all the children to stand in a single row and have their eyes closed tight. She told the class that no one is allowed to open the eyes until every student has been checked. The child who stole the watch was afraid that he would get caught. But there was absolutely nothing he could do at that moment. When it was his turn for the search, with his eyes closed, he felt that the teacher had reached her hand into his pocket and found the watch. Indeed, a few moments later, after the teacher had completed the check with the rest of the class, she asked everyone to return to their seats. The child who stole the watch was terrified, and was so afraid that the teacher would expose him in front of all the classmates. But again, there is absolutely nothing he could do, except to silently stand by for the judgment. The teacher called for the owner to walk up front and take back the watch. But surprisingly, the teacher continued with the lesson right after that, and did not disclose the student who stole the watch. As if the event had never occurred. Years had passed and the teacher never mentioned a single word about the event. Over the years she had not even given any uneasy moment to the student who stole the watch. The child graduated from school, and years later graduated from the university. After many years, one day he met the same teacher in a school reunion. He definitely still remembered the event of the stolen watch. And in fact, all these years he was puzzled why he did not receive any punishment, and was simply let go. When he saw his teacher, he walked up to her to say hello. The student is now a young man and the teacher could no longer recognize him. The young man broke the ice with an eager voice. "How can you not remember me? I was the one who stole the watch from the classmate many years ago. Do you remember one time you asked all of us to close our eyes during the search of the lost watch?" The teacher reacted with a polite smile, and the young man continued. "I am very happy to see you today. I wanted to thank you, because since that day I did not steal again." The teacher then responded in a pleasant manner. "My son, of course I remember. I still remember every detail on that day. I asked all other children to close their eyes so that they will not need to look at you any different in the future. But what you did not know is, when I was checking you, I also had my eyes closed, so that I wouldn't have to think of you any different than it should. And that's why I never knew that it was you, until now. But today I am happy to see you again, seeing you and knowing that from that day on, you had chosen a different path, living wisely in the rest of your journey. What made me even happier is that you had stopped stealing and succeeded in your life. On that day, although all of us had our eyes closed, including yourself, but you were still able to see your wrongs, and treated yourself differently from that day on.